Could the US economy be heading for another collapse like the Great Depression of 1929? Some economists say it's possible. Today we'll explore why and what lessons we can learn from the past. In October of 1929, the stock market crashed, and America spiraled into the Great Depression. What led to this disaster? Years of rapid economic growth created a bubble, with stock prices soaring way beyond their actual value. When that bubble burst, fortunes were lost overnight. The impact was catastrophic. Banks failed, unemployment skyrocketed, and millions of Americans found themselves in poverty. It was the worst economic disaster in US history. Fast forward to today, the US economy has seen rapid growth over the past decade with soaring stock prices, booming real estate markets, and record low unemployment. But some economists are sounding the alarm. They believe we could be heading for another collapse. Just like in the 1920s, today's economy is full of bubbles. Real estate prices are at historic highs, stock markets are driven by speculation, and consumer debt is at dangerous levels. Sound familiar? Economic inequality is also at a peak, much like before the Great Depression, and many fear that if a market correction happens, the fallout could be just as severe. So, what are the warning signs? One of the biggest red flags is the US national debt, which has surpassed $33 trillion. Some experts say it's unsustainable, and if inflation continues to rise, the cost of servicing that debt could cripple the economy. Inflation is another concern. In recent years, we've seen prices on everything from gas to groceries skyrocket. If inflation continues unchecked, it could lead to a severe drop in purchasing power for everyday Americans, causing a ripple effect across the economy. And then there's the job market. While unemployment rates are low, many jobs are unstable, and wage growth hasn't kept up with inflation. If the economy slows, layoffs could rise quickly, leading to widespread financial strain. So, what can we learn from the 1929 crash? One lesson is that unregulated markets can create dangerous bubbles. In the years following the Great Depression, reforms like the Glass-Steagall Act were put in place to prevent another collapse. But many of those protections have since been rolled back. Another lesson is that overconfidence in economic growth can lead to disaster. In the 1920s, people believed the good times would never end, until they did. Today, it's easy to see parallels with speculative investments in tech, cryptocurrency, and real estate fueling much of the economic boom. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: an economy built on inequality is fragile. In 1929, the rich were getting richer while the poor were being left behind. When the crash came, it was the working class that suffered most, and we see a similar pattern today. So can another collapse be prevented? Some economists say yes, but only if serious reforms are made. That means addressing the national debt, managing inflation, and regulating speculative markets to prevent bubbles from forming. Others argue that a market correction is inevitable, and the only way to minimize its impact is to prepare, both on a personal level and a national level. Diversifying investments, reducing personal debt, and pushing for responsible government spending are just some of the steps that can be taken. The future of the American economy is uncertain. While some predict a collapse reminiscent of 1929, others believe we can avoid it with the right measures. But one thing is clear: we are living in economically volatile times, and history has shown us that ignoring the warning signs can lead to disaster. Will America learn from its past, or are we destined to repeat it? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Epic Era for more deep dives into history and its impact on today.